It's no accident that sounds like you're leveling up in a video game. 48% of 18 to 29-year-olds have an online dating profile.
Make them work for it.
45% of people say they're more frustrated with this form of dating than hopeful.
There are so many people you can connect with.
Should I swipe right?
Swipe wrong. Swipe wrong. Setting the record straight on dating apps. Everyday people telling everyday stories of the swipe right world with your host, Koss.
Well, I know he had a good time.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. How's everybody doing? Hopefully you're doing fantastic. I can't believe how quick Christmas is coming. Oh my gosh. Welcome to Swipe Wrong Podcast. You guys know me. I am that guy. I enjoy being that guy. Where other people aren't going to be that guy, I will absolutely be that guy. I am Koss. Welcome to the number one show amongst people who enjoy that peppermint mocha or that pumpkin slut latte that they just Starbucks just already out. Just like all the Christmas decorations are up and going. And just it's going crazy. It's nuts. I'm enjoying it though. What can I say? Let's talk. So follow, subscribe, whatever your platform permits. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends. Hopefully you guys are getting a little something. We've had some replays because there's been some great shows and we're kind of like light on people to talk to lately. I think I've done a bad job of getting into the inbox and seeing what's happening and seeing what's out there. So if you want to share your story, email us at swipewrongpod@gmail.com or 317-426-6616. I mean, it's legit. I want to hear everybody's story. Every time I talk to somebody, something just aha moments, and more of them are just like, it's even kind of changing a little bit right now too, which blows me away. So the show is produced by Jay Pelham. He's genius. That's all I could say really. He's damn genius. He makes the show sound so much better and does an amazing job. Musician's Playbook is out there on Amazon. He's got a few other books, so find Musician's Playbook and then check out what else he's got going on too. His shows and just his mind is pretty damn amazing. So yeah, this week, I needed to have another conversation. So, I grabbed, an oldie but a goodie and I just, had to ask him a couple of things because there's like people seem to be, or at least the people that I've been, had on the show in the past, are really just moving on past the apps. And so I wanted to talk to him and see what he was doing and see how it was going. This is just kind of how it rolled out. So anyway, I will shut up because I'm just rambling. So sit back, relax, put your feet up, grab your popcorn, get it buttered if you want to get it buttered. I mean, why not? Like throw a little bit of caramel on there if you want to. Sea salts, whatever it is. If you're in traffic, please don't hit that person next to you, and enjoy this episode called "Moving On," done a little bit differently.
Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions or any entities they represent. This podcast is about dating experiences. It is not to say one dating app is better or worse than another.
Ironically, as I wanted to talk to you about something, it sounded like, you have a little dating story or a dating scenario or a dating something or other that's happening, huh?
Yeah. I mean, we can call it a story. Also, good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, first time, long time. Actually,
long time,
fifth time, long time, or so, like 15th time, long
time listener. 5 or 6 time caller,
at least. Yeah.
I had a female acquaintance who, I don't know, months ago, her and I were having this conversation. We had connected a long time ago, and we'll just call her a friend. And she was sharing a dating interaction that she had with a guy. And one thing led to another, and the conversation drifted to, how do you let somebody off easy? or without being a dick, right? And that was we were having this dialogue, and I kind of coached her on. I was like, oh, you just gotta, hey, like, I've enjoyed our time. Really appreciate you taking the opportunity to meet with me, and I think you're really cool. Whatever you want to say, and then just say, I just don't think this is the right vibe. And like that was how I coached her up. She's like, man, that's really nice. I was like, well, you can be honest without being a dick, right? So, fast forward, and that went well. And it was fine. She let him down nice and easy. And her and I, we went out on a few dates. Just very casual, social, nothing crazy. And I really dug her. I thought she was really cool. And I made that known. And she seemed to reciprocate. The feeling was mutual. But then I should preface, like, the distance is like an hour and a half between us. And that was
like you guys went out, but there, and how many times did you go out? I guess let's go into the
Well,
story a
yeah.
little bit deeper. So you went out how many times?
We went out a handful of times, 2 or 3 times.
And the commute was how long? Sorry, so let me make sure we don't lose that.
We were both driving an hour plus to meet
halfway. Yeah. Okay. So 2 hours
like,
apart, roughly.
I think it was all in about a 2-hour drive.
Okay.
From one house to another. So that was going to be an obstacle if anything were to happen, but things seemed to vibe really well. Cool chick. I'm a relatively cool guy most of the time.
Fantastic human being. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I have my moments, right?
Lots of them. All of the moments.
So she sends me this big long text one day, and she's like, "Hey, I really like you, and I really appreciate you. I'm just not ready for a relationship, and I don't know, it sucks because I think you're great, and I'm fucking this up, and we're not." And I was like, "Whoa, what?" It's like, "What do you mean you're fucking this up?" She's like, "Well, I'm choosing that. I'm the reason we're not spending time together." I said, "Yeah." I was like, "Listen, if that's how you feel, I get it. I respect it. I understand. I know what it's like to not want to be in a relationship. I'm not necessarily eager to be in a relationship. Like, we're all working through our things, but I enjoyed my time with you, and I was open to the idea of just continuing to get time because." Like, there's nothing more important to me. I mean, time is the most valuable thing that anybody has, so we should invest it wisely. So we had kept tabs I think it was about 2 weeks, maybe 3. And her birthday is this month. And I'd reached out and said, hey, if you'd be cool with it, I'd like to take you out for your birthday. Again, very casual, just being friends. And she said, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I'm seeing someone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I responded in kind of like, oh, I'm sorry. I think I misunderstood what you meant when you said you weren't ready for a relationship. And she backpedaled and was like, no. This just recently happened and blah, 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 blah. And it was like, okay, chick, good luck. So to all your listeners and viewers, like, don't do that. That's just being mean. Like, be honest. If you're not ready for a relationship, say it. But like, if you're not ready for a relationship with the person that's on the other end of the conversation, say that. I'm not ready for a relationship with you. So that way, a week later, when you're knocking boots and banging uglies with somebody, you're like, oh, I do want to get in bed with this dude or this chick. And like, I do want a relationship with this one. If whoever was on the original side, like, reaches out to say, hey, how's it going? And you're like, oh, I'm banging somebody else. And they're like, whoa, what? Like, that's just mean.
That's so tough. Like, it's tough because there's so many different philosophies. Like, there's like so many, like I don't know. And the scenario could be dude was 5 minutes away and they saw each other more times a week than you guys did in the 3 days. So that's tough. Either way, that's so, because you're like, damn, she was kind of cool too.
She was super cool, man. Like, dug the time with her. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not tough. You, it's me. Not you, it's me.
It's not you, it's me. I'm definitely under the subscribe to it's not me, it's you. That's what I am anymore. It's not me, it's you.
I assume people just say that, yeah.
Yeah, right. It's not me. It's definitely you. Like, I get that one.
Listen, if you're a drinker, listen, I'm not drunk enough for a relationship with you. If you like to smoke, I'm not high enough for this. Like, say those things. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, Friday. Love that movie.
Yeah,
well, that's a trip though. I mean, you feel a little bummed when you got that?
Well, I mean, it was off-putting, no doubt, because I had the impression that we would maintain a friendship. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, it's kind of be what it is. And I have a lot of female friends who are married or in relationships or whatever. But I felt odd and out of sorts like having, because it would have just been like a text conversation relationship, right? Like we would have just been friends via text because the distance
Right.
wasn't, it's not like we're hanging out on Sundays when not, when I didn't have anything going on, neither did she.
Right.
And I could only imagine if she's in a new relationship with a new dude, and then she's got another dude texting her on the regular or whatever. Like, I don't want to be that guy. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to do stuff because
Yeah.
regardless if it would be a problem at all. And, we all have our own insecurities. I
For
would
sure.
hate to feel like I was impeding on someone's space. And if they're newly into a relationship, there's a lot of exploration. They're trying to figure stuff out. And it's like, you don't need me as a distraction because I obviously wasn't what you were looking for to begin with. So
Right.
like, don't let me be in the way of anything crazy. And there's no hard feelings. I just kind of think she was mean about it because she wasn't
Yeah.
honest. But again, not everybody can just be open and honest. Say, hey, like it's you, it's not me. Not that you're bad. It's just you. It's not me.
Yeah. And maybe she was honest at the time. Maybe at the time she was honest.
You
Maybe.
never know.
Maybe. I mean, maybe this became a new thing. Or maybe this just became a different thing. I don't
Well, the
know.
irony of it all was like she was the last one before I completely unplugged from all the digital world. Like I can't do this shit anymore. I don't have time, energy, and it's not really that much fun.
Yeah. So that's kind of so you unplugged and like so what's the way to meet people now? Like I
I don't
feel
know,
like
man. That's a great question. I don't know.
like I feel like the more and more like I've done this show for 2 years now, which blows me away that it's been going on for 2 years. Stories and then integrate conversations like this, integrate people, coaches, which I hate the term, but integrate insights from people who are in the world of it. I don't even know what to call it anymore. I've wrote 2 damn books, which I can barely put a run-on sentence together. Thank God for Chat GPT and
Hey,
all the other
shameless
stuff.
plug. Amazon.com. Get those
Yeah,
books. They're great books.
right. There you go. There you go. Swipe Wrong's got the books. Uh, and but like out of everything that that's gone through on all this, like I feel like more and more like people are straying away from the apps and it's turning into um friend requests on Facebook that slide into the DMs or Insta or TikTok, whatever, you're just gonna get DM'd, and that's like it's turning into a different dating culture because of it.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm not big on the social platforms. Like, I don't do TikTok. I don't really do Instagram. I don't really do Facebook. I'm on X, but like that isn't affiliated with who I am as a human. You know what I mean? Like I don't participate. I just
You're a
what
spectator.
I spectate. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was talking to my training partner about this, I don't know, a month ago, and a couple gym crushes at my gym, but I work at the gym and I hold a relatively high level in that facility. Um, so you gotta play that properly because I could kind of play a mayor role and all eyes on me all the time situation, and I don't want to be creepy gym dude that's like spitting game while girls are trying to get their workout on because I hated to hear those stories from the girls that I had that were friends when I was training constantly in the gym. It's not where you go to meet women. It's not.
Well, let me ask you
Unless they're
this.
like putting makeup on to go work out,
Oh, okay.
then they're
So
looking for it.
we'll get into that in just a second because you and I, like, I don't know if you remember this or not, but we talked about this for a second. But since you do work in a gym, and I think just my own thought is hitting on somebody at the gym has got to be one of the hardest things. Do you see that happen every so often, and what's it look like? Like, not you
Yeah,
doing it, obviously, as a
no, totally.
spectator, like you're on X, then this is kind of double X,
Yeah,
maybe not
I
quite
think
triple.
I think there are right and wrong ways to do it. I think if I was going to coach someone how to approach a woman at the gym or a male for that matter, like if you're a chick and you're trying to mac on your gym crush at the gym, I think it's a step by step process. Like step one is associate like a recognition thing. Like if I see you at the gym and you see me at the gym and we make eye contact, smile, be friendly, whatever it is, and there's millions of this type of an example, like for men finding dudes that they want to, like some guys go into the gym and they need a training partner and they don't know how to find a training partner. But then you meet someone who's at the gym the same time you are every day. every day of the week that you're there, and you build, and there is such a thing as gym families, and like you've got your little group of people that you just know are always at the gym when you're at the gym. And I would assume for anybody listening who's got a gym crush, that's probably the scenario that they're in. Now, I'm not suggesting that there aren't those one and dones. You see some gorgeous human being walk in the building and then you never see him again. You're like, damn. But like, probably not the norm. So if you do see someone at the gym regularly and you're having interest in them, like you've got to find a way to open that conversation. Whether that's like, I'm a big fist bump guy. I always have been. Like all the kids that go to the daycare center that's attached to my facility, like we do Fist Bump Friday because they walk by my office every day. So it's like Fist Bump Friday. So everyone associates when they see me with fist bumps as my way of saying hello, like what up, go get the day. Um, so like with my gym crush, that's what I did. I'd seen her a million times. I know her kids swam in the pool. She works out a couple of days a week when I do. So I was like, hey, fist bump, what up? And, we built a little bit of a relationship. She's got a dude. That sounds like they're getting married relatively soon. Super cool, super fit, like in there for the right reasons. But I think to go back to what I was going to say before you ask that question of like how you do it, it's important to remember that unless she's makeup to the nines, like she's in there to work on herself or he's in there to work on himself. And this could be because I'm a little bit older and I work at a little bit different time of day than a lot of the high school and the college younger people do. But like, I'm assuming they do it the same way. When you're in there in a gym, you've got time in between whatever you're doing, unless you're just a cardio freak and like they exist, go get your cardio on. Nothing wrong with it. But like if you're in between sets, there's going to be downtime where you're talking. So like for me, I got a group of dudes. We always talk sports. We're in between sets. We're talking sports. So like if you're in between a set and your gym crush is close, you could either make a compliment or ask a question that just gets you an easy open, and then you kind of take it from there. The problem is how you ask them out. Because you've got to kind of collect some data there. It's not an app. They're not posting single ready to mingle. They're not wearing T-shirts that say swipe right. Although that'd be funny. You should get T-shirts that say that. You know what I mean? So it's like you've got to figure out like
Back
exactly
of the shirt. Yeah.
what website do they go to get those, bro?
I wish. I don't have anybody who produces them yet. I've asked
Get
a
that
couple
shit on
people, but
Amazon
no
with
one do
their
it.
books.
Yeah, really it should.
But so with this one, you've got to have a buddy do some recon. That's what I did. My training partner, she's a female, so that's a very inviting conversation. She's a trainer at the gym, also very inviting. People ask us for support all the time as two people who they see as trainers and coaches and stuff. But if you don't have somebody like that, if you're a solo gym goer, it makes it tough, man, because you can especially in the dude's perspective, you're already behind the eight ball as a male, right? Like you're only there for one reason. And when you're at the gym, girls, you rock those tight girl pants. I'm not even call them yoga pants anymore because there ain't no yoga happening in those pants. And they make everything look good. And it's hard not to notice.
If you're fit.
If you're fit. And even if you're not fit, sometimes that shit's so tight it looks good.
Sometimes. Yeah. Yeah.
But,
it's like Spanx and shit.
Yeah. To kind of put a bow on that whole thing, I don't feel comfortable, asking a girl for a number or trying to spit game when I'm at work, for obvious reasons, right? So I don't know where I'm going to meet women going forward, and I'm not a super available free time guy to just like go hang out at the local establishment. Like I keep a pretty busy schedule the way it is, so. I need to find those single moms at all these sporting events that I'm at and figure out how to wave a little sign that says, yo.
Once upon a time, when we worked together, we went to a really nice gym, really close to our work. And we'd go 5-6 days a week. I mean, we were getting after it pretty good. And I remember, beautiful women there all the time. Gyms can do that, but especially like this gym, because it's definitely probably the nicest one in the state, but it just so happened to be the closest one to us. It's not like we were those guys like, oh, we got to be the nicest one. I mean, 3 full court basketball courts. It was convenient and 2 levels, three pools, all that stuff. But I remember a time when I don't know what we were doing, we were lifting, we weren't playing basketball at the time, and how many women we would see with full blown makeup on. Like it was just like it was go to a lot of gyms and it's not necessarily it definitely wasn't the percentage of them here. And it was like, okay. And then there was definitely a lot more social interaction at that facility than there has been
Yeah.
any other facility I've ever been to, ever, probably combined.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
mean,
I guess there's
we all
that.
have our favorite flavors for sure. When it comes to stuff like that, it's funny too, because like that's not the type of girl I would want to approach in the gym. You know,
Yeah, right.
I want to approach the chick that's got her hair pulled back and she's sweating her ass off and getting work in. Like, not the one that's all dolled up because I want to look good to go to the gym. Like, no, I want to see you working in the gym. That's
And
the personality I'm attracted to. Like, put in that work.
the other thing that makes it so hard too is everybody's got headphones on. So
Well, right. It's hard. It's
yeah,
definitely hard to be social. That's for sure.
yeah. So
Especially like
everybody's
I have the in ears. It's not
yeah,
like the big ones, and mine aren't like even the Apple AirPods, like the white
yeah.
thing that sticks
These
down. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I don't even have that little white thing sticking out. Like mine is in your ear, and you don't even know that I got
yeah.
them. And half the time, all people walk by me like, "Hey, Mike, what's up, man?" And they'll say something, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I wasn't being a dick. I just had my headphones in. I'm sorry."
Right, right. All right. So I mean, that carries some kind of hard tough. Yeah. So like probably the best place to see the attractive people, but the hardest place to meet the attractive people.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah.
So I don't know,
That's
man.
tough.
I'll to answer that question of where I will personally be meeting women going forward is I'm just going to use your shopping cart at the grocery store line and just start putting shit in the wrong cart.
It's undefeated to start a conversation. How's that? And the like undefeated. Like it is the easiest way to start a conversation. Where the conversation goes, entirely different story.
Yeah.
But it definitely there's on 90% of the time laughter. Oh, it's clown yourself a little bit and turns into whatever. It's tough, man. Just like the way I see and the way I am talking to more and more people because it's weird. It's like people, I don't know. I think I'm finding more people in person that have listened to the show, and they're kind of saying the same thing about the apps. It's just like, yeah, like I'll go on to it, but it's like this. It's not the same culture that it seemed to be a year ago. I guess that's all. But then the drawback too is it's not like people still have the people skills. I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go old school. You're just gonna talk to people. Weird. People do that. Yeah, it's crazy. You're gonna have conversations and stuff. That's wow. Who would have thought it?
Yeah.
You
Well, and
know?
I think it's funny too because you've got the generation below us, those 20s and early 30s that are kind of coming up. They don't have the same social skills. They don't have the same tools in the tool belt that you and I do because they grew up in a different world. Like we didn't grow up with the internet. We didn't grow up with AOL Instant Messenger. Like we were teenagers and shit when all that came out. So like that wasn't a thing that we got really introduced. Remember ASL, age, sex, location, like that was a
Absolutely.
thing.
Yep.
So you've had this generational gap from a communicative standpoint where when we talk about it too, like you go anywhere, any sporting event. I mean, you and I, we literally live and breathe sports. Any sporting event, how many times you see people on their phone, either sending a text or watching something or whatever, and there's literally live action in front of them.
Yep.
Like you're at an event to watch an event, and you can't help yourself. The addiction is wild to me. And we've talked about that on the show before too. Is like when you're on a date, how many people put their phones on the table? Even if it's upside
Most.
down, it's like
Yeah.
you got to keep that
Most.
shit in your pocket or leave it in a car. Like you got to
Most.
be willing and able to plug in and be on purpose with your time, with the individual in front of you. And when it comes to that eye to eye, look me in the eyes when you're talking to me and communicating with me. I think there's been a real disconnect with a lot of especially in this dating app. We've shared literally, this is called swipe wrong, dating
Right.
stories.
Right.
Didn't
Right.
necessarily
Totally.
go right.
Totally.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody likes the positive episodes, so we just got to stick to the. Yeah,
Well,
they're like, I want to hear the train wrecks.
but that's the thing, right? There's probably more train wrecks than there are positives that you
But there
come
has
across.
to be. There has to be.
Right.
Like
Right.
you're gonna strike out how many times before you get a hit. Same thing.
100%. It's all
So
about at bats,
it's
right?
and
But
so many people like what. And here's let me expand on that a little bit too. When you meet somebody through an app, or even if you're DMing him and you go out, you still really don't know them. Like you don't know like what are our common interests. What are like you like we don't work together, so we can't talk about our boss or this coworker or something like that. So trained like it is mixed personality to mixed personality, and you're hoping you vibe.
no doubt. Well, and then, on the other side of it too, when you do have those text conversations that are back and forth and you are playing 20 questions and trying to figure out, like, all right, what are you into that I'm into? What commonalities do we have? What can we talk about when we do get together? And it's like, you need that already.
Right.
So even if you go in with a loaded gun of like, all right, I know what we can talk about. We've got these things in common. And then you sit down and you have, and it's like, oh shit, I don't even know how to start having this conversation because you get in
Right.
front of somebody and it's totally different. And we talk
Totally.
about keep storage all the time when it comes to the internet and people picking fights and shit, and you get in real life and they have nothing to say. And it's like, it's no different in the dating world. You'll meet people that
Totally.
you vibe with really well on the apps, and then you get them in front of you and you're like, oh no. I remember
Totally.
a story. You've told me multiple times stories where you've had to lead conversations. It's like I'm
All the
just
time.
talking to a wet fucking blanket here. It's like, what the fuck did I get myself into? Who was this person that I was talking to for a week before I got in front of you?
All the
So
time. All the time.
that's,
And
man. And I appreciate, and I can see why a lot of profiles are like, hey, like, I'm quick to the trigger. Once we've connected, let's get a drink. Fuck all this small talk. I don't want a pen pal, or I don't want a text buddy, or whatever they say on these
yeah,
apps and their profiles. It's like, ask me out. The quickest way to get me is ask me out. And if you ask me out, I'd like to learn about you in person so I can see if there is a vibe.
right.
Versus like learning your life story and then sitting down and having nothing to say because we spent a month and a half texting back and forth.
I got a buddy. He's not a buddy. What do I call him? What should I call Jack? What is Jack? What do I call Jack? Like my he's not my buddy, but
He's definitely more than a buddy.
he's family. He's definitely
Yeah.
he's like I don't know, little brother, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
Little
I don't even know.
brother's good.
I can't say stepson, that's for sure.
Well, and I was going to
Yeah.
say nephew, maybe
Yeah, maybe nephew. All right.
young nephew.
So he takes a job up in Minnesota. Really good job. Got his bachelor's from Purdue. Just super smart. And he goes up to Minnesota. He's never lived there before, but ironically, his mom and his grandparents and his uncles are from there. So he's got some bit of like knows the area a little bit, but really doesn't know that many people. And we're texting one day. He's like, "Man, I don't know anybody. What do I do? What do you think I should do?" So go onto the apps and just swipe on everybody. Good looking, bad looking, just swipe on everybody you can. Because he's a great looking young man. I mean, just, you talk about fit, just he 6'5". I think you and I talked about how much he's lifted. I gave you some
Oh, yeah.
obscene number.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's fit. He's a fit.
he is a gym freak, that's for sure. So it's not like he's hurting, but the social skills are not exactly there because of he writes code. That's pretty much what he does. But it doesn't mean that he lacks the confidence or doesn't have those. It's just to walk up to somebody cold is a little bit different. So I said swipe on everybody and then just go out with everybody without, like we talked about before. I know I'll always say experiences over expectations, but this is truly that. Like, go out and just, hey, like, how you doing? Like without, like, I'm not trying to hook up with this person. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just trying to meet people. That's what apps can be used for too. And I think people forget about that. Like, it's all of a sudden this pressure of like, oh my God, we connected. Are we going to go out? Are we going to have sex? No. We're just going to talk and see what the heck happens. We might hate each other.
Yeah. I mean, hey man, you and I both have met really good people through the apps. I mean, one of the people that you and I both know really, really well now. Like, I met through the apps and introduced you to you, and you got to meet her and spend time with her, and she's just a quality human being.
Quality.
And I'm so grateful that she is in my life. And, she's
Texted
been
her
on
the
the
other day.
show. She's been on the show.
Yeah.
And we did that 4-way thing with her and her other
Yeah.
girlfriend that one time. They had the weird thing. And like, Kara's just a wonderful human being. I'm so grateful that we had an opportunity to connect through the apps.
Right.
So I
Right.
think that's great advice for anybody who,
You
and
know what
I think a lot of the apps now you can just go on and like looking for a BFF or just searching for friends or whatever it is too. So some of those apps I know have eliminated the awkwardness of like, oh, I'm not really trying to date, but I do want some friends. Now,
Sure.
having said that, I'm sure there's a lot of motherfuckers out there who are saying they're looking for friends, but they're not looking for friends. And
Right.
those
They're looking for
profiles,
friends. Yeah.
right, those profiles will show themselves. Like when
Yeah.
when a friendship thing is a dating profile that they just copied and pasted over, they're probably just looking for more swipes,
Some are looking for friends. Some are looking for benefits.
yeah.
Some are looking
Yeah,
for friends, and some are looking for benefits. Not
I'm
everyone's
with
looking
you.
for friends with benefits, though. Like a lot of them just want the
Yeah.
benefits. They don't want the friend. So
What is
there's that too.
is it Tinder that has the option for short? I can't remember. One of the apps has just short term fun
Yeah.
as
I
as
think
what
it's
I'm
that.
looking for. It's like really
Yeah.
they should just swipe that one and say looking to fuck.
Yeah, DTF. Like, and there's apps for that. There's literally apps to hook up. Like, it's not just Bumble, Tinder, Match. There is literally apps that, like, if you want to just get out there and like
Dang.
that's what. Now, granted, they're 90% guys, but still, you at least might as well give them a shot. So here's the other thing to wrap your head around too. Like, all right, so we talked about the situation that you went through. With her not necessarily being honest. Maybe she wasn't honest. Maybe she wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Maybe there's other stuff there. And how that frustrates you. I'm going to give you something that I don't think would frustrate you, that annoys the shit out of people maybe a little younger than you, maybe my sister, maybe a couple other people, but I don't think you would care. Being left on red. Have you heard that? Like if somebody
Being left
sends
on
them
red?
yeah, like they left me on red, so I blocked them.
Oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah, like see, that's not going to bother you, but the generation below you better not do that to that generation, because that generation will they will drive by your house and just cuss you out.
I have perspective for those of you who are listening to this, where that grinds your gears, if you will, right? So people choose to invest time in things that are important to them. And in life, and this might be hard for some of you to believe, especially considering what we just went through yesterday. I don't know when this show is going to drop, but we just had our election. There's a lot of angry people in the world. There's a lot of excited people in the world. There's a lot of people who don't know how to feel. You are not in control of everything that happens from others. You can only control yourself. If someone chooses to not read a message that you sent, you need to interpret that as they are choosing not to invest time in you. And that can piss you off and that can make you feel less of a human or whatever. But like when you categorize a lot of the people that you meet on these apps, you don't know them for shit. We literally just talked about, you don't know them for shit. Why would you allow someone that you don't know for shit to have that much power over you? Because they chose not to read something. Like, come on. How many of you listening that pisses you off? Read a text message from a friend that you're like, I'll answer it later. And then you don't answer for like a week. Do you think that pisses off your friend? And then we're talking about your friend, not someone you met on the apps. We're talking about your friend. Does that piss you off? If you're on the other receiving end of a friend, you text your friend and there's like, what the fuck? This motherfucker's not even answering me. And you know them. Like, don't give people power like that. That's silly. That's silly. They should be grateful that you text them or message them or whatever. And if they're not grateful, then that means that they're not grateful. And that's okay. You can't be upset about that shit. Don't give them that power. Be better than that.
I mean, that's
my little soapbox.
I've always had a hard time with. Like,
that's funny though. If that bothers your girl, man, I'll call her.
Mandy?
I'll call her and coach her up.
Sis,
come on, man.
You do not leave sis on red. You do not do that. If you're gonna do that, she ain't got any kind of time for you. I'll talk to her about that tomorrow. That would be funny. But it's that her and the younger generation like that. I mean, what was it's I don't know. Like, I don't know what to equate that to because that's their form of face-to-face communication almost, it seems like.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's us saying, why are you ignoring me? I guess. I guess that's the equivalent of, except it's
Maybe.
digital, which is it's kind of I don't know. I don't want to say it's kind of scary because that's an overstatement, but it kind of weird, I guess. Like
Well, I
Mike,
think
if I'm talking to you, bro, and you don't listen to me, like I might get a little annoyed, like, bro, why you ignoring me? But like if you don't respond to my text or something, I'll be like, it's not the same. It's just not. So, but they
well,
treat it that way.
and I don't know what you're doing. You don't know what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
Right. Right.
You and
Right.
I are
Right.
states away. If you
Right.
text me and I don't get to you for a while, I'm probably busy. And
Yeah.
you're my brother, let
Yeah.
alone just a friend, you know?
And look,
And
I probably lost half the audience that are younger. They're probably like, oh, he just doesn't get it. But I don't. Like, I don't. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it is to what you said. It is to like, don't give them so much power. Like, I just have a hard time with getting an emotional reaction over something like that. Because you know what? I still like the person. All right, they didn't respond. Maybe they're like, I have a hard time getting mad at like, I don't get mad at people because they're mad at me, I guess. So many people will get mad. Like, I'm mad at you because you're mad at me. Why? Why? I don't like that one doesn't catch me. Like I think because I've made so many people mad in my life that I just understand that that's probably gonna happen. So that's okay
well,
too.
I think there's a learning curve. And like I used to be I will be the first to admit that I went through a long period of my life where I was super sensitive. And you were with me through a lot of that. I was super sensitive and I would really get butthurt about things and it'd be silly. And I didn't start to adapt and grow and level. I like to call it leveling up in life from a maturity standpoint when I was in therapy going through my divorce. And that statement came up like I was giving so many people so much power over me. And it wasn't until I really understood what that meant to me, because I think that can be interpreted a lot of different ways. But when I figured out what that meant to me, and we have another mutual friend who really struggles with this, and you talked to her recently because she sent me a screenshot of the text thread because she was pissed at my answer that I gave her, and your answer was so much better. To which I said, "Well, my man's a better therapist than me, so like
Oh,
by all means, take it
I
out
know
with him."
nothing about this. I'm sorry.
Um, yes, you do. I'll tell
No,
you offline.
tell
It's
me.
fine.
Yeah, yeah. Like honestly, I'm not
Yeah,
sure what
yeah,
you're.
yeah. But tut tut, it looks like rain, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I okay, okay.
so anyway, it's like sometimes you are so emotionally caught up in whatever is making you angry that you can't let go of the reality that it's not that big a deal, you know? And it's like, listen, 90% now, 90 is probably a big number. Let's say 75, 25. 75% of the time, they're probably not on purpose trying to piss you off. So you just said, like, maybe they're doing something else. Maybe they got distracted. Maybe they genuinely forgot. Maybe they met somebody else. If we're talking in the app world, they met someone else and that just firecracker. And it was everything they thought it would be. And they'll never open an app again. And they just deleted them. And I think most of those apps, if you delete them off your phone, your shit's still all in there anyway. So and then years later, you open up your app and you're like, oh shit, that person sent me a message in 2020. Whoops, sorry. And then like they're married with kids or whatever. Like,
Right.
again, you can't, people make so many assumptions about what's going on the other end, right? Like,
Totally.
over the years, the three dots and then they disappear.
Thank you for being along for the ride on the Swipe Wrong podcast. The show is produced by Jay Pelham. You want to reach out to us? We want to hear your story. 317-426-6616. Make sure to text, leave a voicemail. We'll get back to you. Shoot us an email at swipewrongpod@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, YouTube. We are definitely out there. I am the host of the show. My name is Chaos. And please make sure to take a listen to us next week because the saga, it continues.